Hi everyone,
Supermarket.
welcome back to The Unsupermarket, the podcast where we unpack the stories of what ends up on your dinner table. I'm Lee.
And I'm Jane. And today we're talking honey. Sweet, sticky, golden, gorgeous, gooey honey. And it's one of the oldest forms of food that humans have ever eaten.
That's right, Jane. We've been out chatting with Russell from Two Pops Honey. Well, Russell, he's a third generation bee farmer, and honestly, what he doesn't know about bees isn't worth knowing.
Yeah, he's an absolute gem, Lee. We saw his bees up close, doing their thing, and it's incredible how calm they can be when you're learning and understanding how they work. And a big thank you to Jordan, who travelled all the way out to do the filming, and he's done a great job with the editing.
Thanks, Jordan. And we learned so much about how honey is made. But what is interesting to look at before we see our chat is how we can use honey beyond just putting it on toast.
And let's, now that you've mentioned it, start in the kitchen, shall we? Honey is one of those things that, as I said, been around forever, but we often forget how versatile it can be.
Very versatile, Jane. It's not just a sweetener, it's a flavor enhancer. So you can use it in marinades, salad dressings, baking, for roasting vegetables.
And I love it on pumpkin and carrots. You just drizzle a little bit before you roast it and it caramelizes beautifully.
Same. I love it with any sort of vegetable. And it's a great way to get kids to eat vegetables too. Add a bit of sweetener, Jane. So
That's true.
when you're baking, you can actually swap out the sugar for honey, but you need to use a little bit less honey than sugar because it's actually sweeter and holds the moisture better.
Yeah. And here's a baking tip. It actually browns faster. So when you're baking with honey, turn the temperature down in the oven and then it won't burn.
Great tip, Jane. So we all know this moment when you reach for the honey jar and it's gone solid.
Yeah. So here's the Two Pops honey jar. And sometimes it goes that sort of, as you're saying, that solid. But honey never goes bad. What's
Yeah.
happening is it's crystallization. It's when the natural sugars, and mainly glucose, they form crystals over time and they stick together.
And different honeys crystallize at different rates. Did you know that, Jane? Depending on what flowers the bees have been feeding on.
Yep. Actually, I did find out that clover flowers, for instance, when the bees get the pollen from that, it crystallizes faster than eucalyptus flowers. So eucalyptus flowers will actually stay runny for longer. That's really
Wow.
interesting. Mm.
So very interesting. So if your honey's gone grainy or solid, don't toss it out. Just warm it gently in the jar in warm water.
Yeah. And the key is don't nuke it in the microwave. Please don't do that.
Can you imagine that if you had honey all over the inside of your microwave? Please don't do it. Very hard to clean off. So you might need a new microwave actually. So in a bowl of warm water, this is all you need to do. Let it loosen up slowly. That way you don't destroy the natural enzymes or the flavor. Make sure
Yeah.
it's warm water, not boiling water.
Yeah, and overheating it can also remove the antibacterial properties, which is, as we know, honey is a natural healer. So don't overheat it. Just loosen it so that the crystallization, it makes it runny.
It's like coaxing the honey back to life rather than blasting it.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about, Lee, is the bees themselves. Many of us have heard about the Verroa mite in Australia, and something that I think we should, talk about a little bit. Russell does refer to it, but I think we need to explore it a bit more.
Yeah, Jane, as I understand it, the Varroa destructomite, I think it's called, is a parasite that attacks honeybees and their larvae. It's been a huge problem overseas for decades, and it finally made its way to New South Wales a couple of years ago now.
Yeah, and they had a big eradication program, but unfortunately, you can't eradicate them completely. So now it's management rather than elimination.
So the virus isn't gone, but bee farmers across New South Wales, Victoria, and ACT are learning to live with it,
Yeah.
like we've had to with many viruses in our world. They're monitoring hives closely and using integrated pest management techniques to keep it under control.
Yeah. So if you see fewer honeybees, as we do on our farm, don't panic. There are native bees that are there instead. The honeybees will come back in time.
The native bees too, they're incredible. They're smaller, they don't actually sting, and they're actually not affected by the Varroa. So they're still doing vital pollination work while I guess the honeybee population is stabilizing.
Yeah. The other good thing too, Lee, is that flies are good pollinators. A lot of flies at the moment on the farm because of the heat, but we don't want to kill them all because they're really good pollinators. So keep them around.
That's interesting. I actually didn't know that.
Mm.
All right, now let's drop in on Russell at Two Pops Honey for our chat.
2 pops.
We've got a bit of a treat for you today. Guess you could say it's the bee's knees.
We're at Murray's Beach, which is next suburb to Cays Beach, southernmost suburb of Newcastle, or one of the southernmost suburbs of Newcastle. And this is where our first apiary, or our first apiary when we started. If you've been buying our honey, which I hope you have, you'll see our name and where we actually bottle and pack the honey at Cays Beach.
Russell's got a network of different beekeepers all in the neighbourhood that have different flavours coming from different trees. They don't mix them, they're sold as different products, but it's a big community-based system that they have here.
Yeah, and they're throughout New South Wales, not just this local area, but throughout New South Wales. We've got some unbelievably good beekeepers out there, pure Australian honey, and it's just a treat when you get pure Australian, raw, unmodified honey. Yeah, so please, all the support you can for an Australian product is great.
All right, let's go check it out.
A fair while ago, I decided to buy a little farm down at YE, and the farm that I purchased, the people that sold it to me had 8 or 9 beehives down in the far corner of the property, and I said, "Gee, are they your beehives?" And they said, "No, we don't even know who owns them now." So, so they were sort of left there by somebody. Anyway, the guy across the road happened to be a beekeeper. And I said, "Oh, would you like these hives? Or would you like to look after them?" He said, "No, I don't need any more." He was an older fella. He said, "I don't need any more, son." He said, "But I'll teach you how to be a beekeeper." And he did. And I was very grateful for that. It was great experience, and has been a great experience being a beekeeper. You get the passion and the drive, and 10 becomes 20 and 20 becomes 30, and yeah. Then we, just before Varroa came along, we're up to about 120. Whew. And
But obviously it's been a bit of a recovery since.
Now we're in recovery and the build up, and
yeah.
Yeah, so, but we're hoping, and I've got some other beekeepers in the mix with me, so we're hoping that all together we can probably come up with about 400, 450 in the area.
Wow.
And that'd be more than enough. Yeah,
More than enough,
more
definitely.
than enough for us. Okay, this is a 2-box hive. 2-box hive. It's got the brood box at the bottom. Then we have a queen excluder, and then we have a super sitting on top. Super is traditionally where they store the honey, and as you can see around the apiary, you'll have some 3-box hives for bees that are hives that are producing a bit more honey. Then as they produce more honey, we add more boxes. So to go into the hive, we smoke them, just to it pacifies the bees a little bit. So we're going to take the lid off, and you can see this hive probably deserves another box. You got bees all over the top box, all up in the lid, meaning that they really need a bit more room. This is a mat. We traditionally use that so that the bees don't produce too much comb between the top of the frames and the lid. Now remembering this is a super, okay? So this is where they store the honey. Okay, we'll take out the first frame. And wow, look at that. That is one frame, chock-a-block, full of honey. That probably weighs up to 2.5 kilo in that frame, maybe more. And if I went through this whole box, I'll put that one aside, and I could go through this whole box and it's probably going to be chock-a-block.
Look at that, it's incredible.
All honey, chock-a-block. So this is what we would shake the bees off, and we would take that to extract out of it to our extraction workshop, where we would then spin it and take the honey out of that.
So these get basically dropped into a tumbler, which is just giving it centrifugal force.
Yep.
You know, throw it around and the honey comes out. But is the wax, the honey, the little cells?
Well, we actually take.
They left inside it?
Beg pardon?
Are the actual wax cells themselves? Do they remain?
They stay.
They stay from that, so
Yeah,
they're strong enough to not break
We
away.
take the wax cover off.
Yeah.
By a process called uncapping. So we uncap it, put them in the extractor, take the honey out, and you still essentially got the wax cells there. And that's what they call a sticky, and you can put that straight back in the hive. Now, that one is half capped, and so you can see how this is uncapped. They have not capped it yet. See that? See that's nectar there? So the bees have not capped that yet.
So whereabouts does the queen bee normally stay?
That's in the brood box. I'll show you. We're going to split this off. Gee man, this is heavy. This is where the queen lives. This is the brood box. But what's sitting on top of that is what we call a queen excluder. This metal thing. Now this metal thing stops the queen from coming from the brood box up into the super. And the reason for that is, for honey producers, we don't want the queen laying eggs up in the super. What we're going to do now, we'll take the excluder off, and now we're into the brood box. So, they're Varroa traps. And also we've got another pest called a small hive beetle. And they're quite prolific in this area.
So they're a type of beetle.
Yeah, small black beetle.
They actually try to get in amongst all of that.
Oh, there they do. They live in here, yeah. A defence can only be a chemical defence.
So the bees can't attack it?
No, because they're such a small, the bees can't sting them. And their
they're
only
smaller
way of,
than they are.
Yeah, their only way of attack is to use their stinger.
Okay.
So you can see on this one, there's a lot of bees on there.
So this was the brown, orange, and yellow in there?
Oh, that's pollen?
That's pollen.
So they need pollen and they need nectar to live on. And that's when there's an ample supply of pollen and nectar, that's when the queen will start laying again. And that's usually in spring, usually at the beginning of spring. Yeah. Because she needs nectar and she needs pollen. In winter there's there's nothing flowering, there's no nectar and there's not a lot of pollen around. So she stops laying. When spring comes and all that's in abundance, she starts laying like crazy. Yeah.
And at that point, what happens to the women and then the males?
Well, all the worker bees are female, and there's only 10% which are males. That's the drones. And they'll have a home over spring and summer, but as autumn comes, she starts to stop laying as much drone comb for drones, for males. And then in winter they chuck them all out because that's all they're good for is reproduction and eating. That's a traditional pattern where they have the honey on the outside edge and then the brood. The brood is the eggs. This is the brood. This is where the babies are.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the queen's gone and laid an egg in each one of those holes. Each one of those cells, sorry, yeah. And then once they get to a certain age, the bees cap it, and yeah, that's just a great frame.
So
of brood
with your queen,
yeah,
a lot of commercial farmers they replace them yearly,
so that they get the maximum production out of that queen, and she lays the maximum amount of eggs.
Okay, so because even though they can continue to lay eggs, their production reduces over time.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Their fertility or, you know, other reasons, she just does not lay as many. If you've got a cranky queen, through her genetics and through through her brood, you'll sometimes get some testy bees.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the temperament is actually passed on through the genetics.
Yeah, of the queen. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, she lays every egg.
Mm.
Every egg in this comes from one queen.
Mm.
They say, and I've never counted them, they say she can lay up to 2,500 eggs a day.
Blimey.
A day, but I've never done the count.
New South Wales has been hit by a lot of different invasive pests the past couple of years.
Over a long time, yeah.
There was the Verroa Mite that's come through a lot of the bee yards. How did that affect you?
We lost all our hives.
All of them.
Mm.
And all the neighbours as well?
Yeah, all the people in the Newcastle area and down as far as the Central Coast, and you know, they all lost their hives until the DPI reconsidered their position and felt that they were never going to get on top of it by just euthanizing hives, and they went into a management program. The management program meant they're here, we're not going to be able to contain them, so we have to manage them. We've come up with a mixture of synthetic and organic treatments for the hive, so that we can rotate them. So the organic treatments, the bees don't become immune to.
You've got to cycle them to try and make sure the Verroa Mite doesn't get resistant to what you're trying to use at the moment to fix
that's
the problem.
right.
Okay.
So Baverol has a great effect on them, but you can't use Baverol all the time, which has been happening overseas. And now that's come to the point where the Varroa has developed an immunity to that chemical, and it doesn't have the effect it used to. So if you then use it sparingly, like once a year, and use another synthetic and 2 treatments of organics, you can cover the year, but keep it on a rotation basis.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's very much like, ourselves, an antibiotic resistant over prescriptions, and then using the same ones again and again.
Keeping in mind, the big statement here is, we're only a couple of years into this, and I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. So we're still experimenting to get the best possible result. From a nuke to a hive like this, if the conditions are good, it can happen in 6 weeks.
Wow, okay.
I
mean, 2,000, almost 2,000 children a day, it can get there. So how many bees do you have in a hive? A couple, 10,000 then?
No, well, see that 4-boxer up there?
Yeah.
That could have 60,000 in it. Whew. Well, you count the bees just
so
sitting on
20,000 a box almost.
Well, if the season's good and it's packed out.
Yeah. So what do they do during cold days versus hot days for temperature regulation?
Well, if it gets really hot, the bees will fan. With
their wings.
Yeah, they'll fan at the front and they'll create a draft in the hive.
So they can cool.
Yep.
Essentially, just creating a draft using the little chain of wings.
Yep.
Venting through.
That's right.
That's great.
And then if it's really, really cold in winter, they'll get together and they'll cuddle up and they'll vibrate.
They'll vibrate.
Shake, and that'll create some warmth.
That's amazing.
Especially to protect any brood that's still in the hive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to chill your brood. If your brood chills, it dies.
How do the different flavours get drawn into this?
The flavour doesn't come from the bees.
No.
Flavour comes from whichever tree that they've harvested nectar from.
Yeah.
So you'll see here you might have a bit of squiggly gum, you've got a bit of smooth bark apple, you've got some stringy bark, you've got some swamp mahogany over the back. They're all different species of of gum, and they all taste different. I sell it virtually by the apiary.
Right. Okay, got
So,
you. So that's where the different flavours come
but
from.
some apiaries will be in a paddock of yellow box. So you know that you're going to get 90% of what comes out of that hive is yellow box.
Is coming from yellow.
Yeah. Or the same with ironbark. You get big stands of ironbark, like hundreds of trees of ironbark, and they all flower at once. So the beekeepers put their hives right there.
There might be a couple of flowers here and there, but it's pretty much all ironbark.
Yeah, but they will forage like us. We go to the first coals that's available. They go to the first flower that's available.
Yeah. Or box divvy hub.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But can you tell me about the bee dance with the distance and the location to the hive?
Well, it's.
Yeah. Well, so
I don't understand bee language. All I know is that they've got the waggle, the bee dance, which will, when they get back to the hive, they can communicate where the trees are by doing this dance.
So these little guys, they got a signal basically to tell everyone, that's what I found, that's how good it tastes,
That's the direction,
how it smells, and that's the direction.
and it's 2 Ks.
Yeah,
Well, over there, 500 metres.
I've seen it. It's like a figure 8,
Yep.
and the different lines in the figure 8 determine which direction,
Yes.
and also how wide it is or something along those lines is how far away it is.
That's right. That's
but
right.
the location is done as in it's this direction
With
in
the sun.
relation to the sun.
Yeah.
So it's kind of their little, compass, essentially, using the sun there, which is pretty cool. But another thing too is you're telling me they don't see a certain colour?
Red.
Red. Interesting, isn't that? But
Yeah.
they see yellow,
Yeah.
blue.
Yeah. They see all those colours. Their favourite colour, what I've been told, again, this is all through publication, is when you're out here, you just see this. You don't really see their favourite colours or anything.
No.
But all the research says their favourite colours tend to be in the lavenders and the blues.
So can you run me down different jobs of the bees?
Oh, well, there's guard bees.
Yep.
To protect the hive. There's worker bees in the hive. Worker bees have, understanding that bees generally, bees die because they work themselves to death. But the average life for a bee is around about that 30-day mark.
Okay.
As opposed to the queen that can go for 3 years.
Yeah.
As opposed to, So those worker bees, being all females, their lifespan, they can go longer in times when they don't have to forage as much. So there's foraging bees. There's bees in the hive that store the nectar. There's bees in the hive that who look after the brood. There's a multitude of jobs in the hive for the bees. The bees that clean the hive. They all have different jobs to do, and it's like an army. This is where the bulk honey comes into.
So how much honey do you have in one of those tubs?
1,500 kilos.
1,500, jeez.
So during the season, we will stock about 15,000 kilos of honey all the time. And we're not a big packer. We're only a very small packer.
Yeah.
So a small honey producer and a small packer. But we like to give pure, raw, unmodified honey.
That's right, because there's been a lot of news in the past, decade even, about adulterated honey products being washed down with what is it, fructose syrup?
Syrup,
Syrup of a kind.
Yeah, and all sorts of additives,
it's all about cost.
It's a government thing. The government could legislate and stop it from coming into our country and inspire our own industry, because we're recognised as being the best honey in the world.
Yeah.
So why do we want to bring that an inferior product into Australia and serve it up as honey?
Sending the money overseas.
Yeah.
And two, so that there's been no regulation attacking them for selling it without, labeling their products correctly, as far as you know?
Well, that's a very complex and convoluted argument,
Okay.
because I could identify honeys that are in some of the major food retailers, and it says 100% honey, and it is 100% honey, but a third of it or half of it might be from overseas. It's still honey, but they sell it to us as honey, or Australia, but we don't know how it's extracted, we don't know how it's processed, but it comes into us as honey and it's sold as honey. Then what some packers will do, they'll blend that with Australian honey.
What's the what would be the incentive to do that?
Cost.
Oh, so
They can buy
get cheaper honey from overseas.
They can buy a kilo of
mix
honey
it
from
together.
overseas for as low as $2.
And so at that point they can call it Australian honey?
No, they can call it 100% honey.
Right.
But people that call it 100% Australian honey can also blend honey, and they blend inferior quality honey with other honey, and that they can still call that 100% Australian honey, and it is. It is in fact 100% Australian honey. But you don't know what quality of the honey is, and you don't know if it's been blended. So they could take honey that's coming off say canola, which is considered to be an inferior honey, and they could blend it with say an ironbark, and essentially the taste and the texture is ironbark, and they'll sell it
Completely different.
as 100% Australian honey.
Yeah.
100% even ironbark honey, they'll call it.
Yeah.
But, that's just the ethics. If someone comes to you with a honey for $2 a kilo, how many people are going to be able to take advantage of that? Only the big guys.
So here, I see on the table you've got two different. Is this two different flavours that you've got?
Oh,
Stringy
this is
and Western Plant?
you've come at the time of year when I'll have at the time of year when honey stocks are at their lowest point.
Oh, okay.
And we've only got 3 different varieties in the workshop at the moment.
Right.
In 2 to 3 months, I'll have 8 different varieties in the workshop.
Wow.
I'll have all my own hives, which are local, which will be 300 to 400 local hives. But I'll also buy honey in from Wagga, Narrabri, Inverell, Glen Innes, Warhope, Taree, and I'll buy it because I have association with all those beekeepers.
Yeah.
I know exactly how they work. I know them personally and been in their workshops. So when I buy the honey, I'm assured that I know what I'm getting. So they might have specific areas of, say, yellow box, bloodwood, yapunya, all different varieties of coolabah, all different varieties of honey that they harvest from. So one of them might ring up and say, "Oh mate, I've got 8 IBCs we've just taken off of bloodwood." So we'll say, "Oh, we'll send us 2 or 3 down," and that will be, we'll run that bloodwood stock for a while.
Yeah.
We never go over hive temperature. Hive temperature is around 35 degrees Celsius. That's where the 34, maybe 36, depends on the heat in the atmosphere at the time. So these over winter will keep the honey warm enough for us to pour.
So with the honey, there's no, the denaturing process is probably way higher. You know how food, when you cook it, denatures? On a really hot day, some of the hottest days on record, it's like 50, 55 degrees.
Yep.
Now, it's not going to go to 100 degrees like water to boil, but is there a temperature at which the honey starts to face issues?
You can burn honey if you overheat it.
Yeah.
You can.
Can that happen from the sort of really hot temperatures that we get out here and the combined temperature?
No, not atmospheric temperature. It would be under having it under heat.
Oh, okay. Cooking sort of
Yeah.
would be the only place.
If you
but
went
not
in the
naturally.
process of decrystallising, and if you turned it up to 60 degrees Celsius and left it there for 3 weeks, you would probably burn that honey.
Wow. Okay. Right.
And when it's burnt, you won't eat it. No, we're very conscious that we don't ever go past hive temperature.
Yeah. Oh, hive temperature is kind of where the target is.
Well, we know that we have to take it up to hive temperature or in that area to decrystallise it, to get it to come back to liquid form. We've got all our jars. We've already boxed them up. We've already labelled them. And so we'll sit when we get our orders. And we'll fill up a couple of hundred of those. This week's order's only been very small, but it's there, it's ready to go. As soon as we get the order, we get onto it, we pack it, we bottle it and we pack it, and it's ready to be picked up.
Wow, learned so much, Jane. Next time, grab a jar of honey. Oh, next time I grab a jar of honey, or you grab a jar of honey, I'll be thinking about all that goes into it, the bees, the flowers, the weather, and the care from farmers just like beautiful Russell.
Yep, and maybe try something new with it, folks. Whip up some honey glazed chicken, mix it with a cup of tea, raise a toast to our hardworking bees. It's sort of like the old mead drink, maybe.
Exactly. Huge thanks again to Russell from Two Pots for sharing his knowledge and his passion.
Yep, and to all the beekeepers who are managing this challenge at the moment with the Verroa Mite, they take such care. So I want to thank you all for bringing us honey still.
That's it for this episode of Unsupermarket. Don't forget to follow, thumbs up to show your love of the episode, and please do share. And we've got plenty more delicious stories coming your way.
Yep, and remember, please stay curious, stay kind, and shop a little. Supermarket!